Well, just as we go along here, self-produced.
Yeah.
Also push this back a little bit because I've messed up the audio for the past 2 episodes. Last episode's YouTube had no volume. Sorry about that.
Hope you enjoy moving pictures.
It has like 700 views still. I don't know what the hell's
At
going
what
on.
point did you realize, like, oh, wait, hang on. A lot of these comments are mentioning the lack of sound.
People are commenting, hey, great conversation. I'm like, I don't know how you heard it. I genuinely have no idea.
Those are fans, man.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I think they're lonely people.
Yes.
That's what most of this is.
Yeah. Entertaining lonely people. But
Shout out to you.
yeah, thankful for you.
Yeah, thankful. Thanks for subscribing to the Patreon.
Oh, get in on the Patreon.
Get in on the page.
'Cause
We're
we-
having a hell of a time there.
Yeah, we got some spicy stuff to share there. I'll tease it.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll see.
We got
Stick around to this.
spicy
Listen to this, but then we'll get spicy on the page.
If you like the inside workings of lower New York City comedy, we talk a lot of shit on that page.
If you want to see very petty people claw their way up in a really old system of entertainment
Yeah.
and throw a lot of people under the bus, that's where we do it.
And if you want to hear Kyle Mara say that comedians can become executives at networks, you should have been at the show last night because that's what you told me. I was like, that's what me and Mayhill were like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, these comics, they suck, but one day they'll be the head of comedy at CBS. It's like, one, that's never happened in the history of anything.
Yes.
And two, CBS isn't going to be around in 10 years. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. It's a lot of wanting things to stay the same because it's also like, hey, I want to like that because that path existed for what, like 30 years, something like that. You know what I mean?
30 to 50 years. At least.
Yeah, and it was very that structure I think was like comforting to people. It's like,
Yes.
oh, like people still like I want a pilot. What? Like people still working for pilot? Like
I know several people.
I'm writing a pilot is like, I get, yeah, I guess good writing exercise, but like what the pilot, like,
What do you think like the version of that was before now? Like when pilots were being written.
it sounded like, I think it's like the equivalent of somebody saying like, I'm going to go cut my teeth in the Catskills. It's like, that's what, people did that 40 years ago. Like you're going to like do that. Does that even, that's where Mel Brooks came out of. Yeah, I get it worked
Is that
for
where
him.
Mel Brooks came out of?
Yeah, he would do like the Jewish circuit in the Catskills.
Catskills fell off.
But that's what it sounds like to me when somebody's like, "Oh, I'm writing a pilot," and it's like, "Are you using like hieroglyphics?" Like, because that's how old it feels to like the chances of success. Like it just feels so antiquated.
It feels like in the 60s, they're like, you know what everything has too much now? Sound.
Yes,
to go
exactly.
back to soundless
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah.
More Chaplin material.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. It's like we need, which is actually I've seen like some people being like I think there's like a resurgence of like clowning. Like people do like clowning as an art form. There's this guy Zach Zucker who does like Stamptown. Have you seen the Stamptown
what's
thing?
Stamptown?
Stamptown. It's just this like anarchy, like really, really crazy clowning show. It's not stand up. It's like kind of, it gets into like performance art and there's like plants in the crowd and stuff. So there's like actually a resurgence of clowning, which I feel like is like the oldest comedic art form.
I mean, we have to go through another recession, I think. Like, people are just, they have too much. You shouldn't be doing professional clowning. There shouldn't be an up-and-coming art form.
There should be a thing for comedy, like, you know how you like raise interest rates or lower interest rates. So like,
I love this.
we got to do something like that for comedy.
But what would that be? I don't know how we can control the comedy economy.
Yes, because it is full, and that's a lot of people don't like. It's just the Wild West in terms of like trends and things like that. Like when we started comedy, the concept of crowd work was. It existed.
This is only 10 years ago.
Yeah, this is 10 years ago. And, like, not to obviously, 10 years is nothing. It's something, like, whatever. But, like, it never mattered. There was, like, 1 or 2 people doing it. And now it's, like, a prerequisite. Like, it would be like in soccer. You start playing soccer. It's like, by the way, like, 10 years in, you got everybody. We're using hands now.
Yeah.
Like we got like the goalie. It's working so good for the goalie that like now everybody has to use their hands.
And you have to film it since the first day you start.
Yes, exactly.
And we want to see your progress with this.
Yeah. Oh God, can you imagine? Yeah, I'm so thankful we didn't start at this time because people putting like their first like like my first joke at an open mic online. The pressure
doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, like labeling it as like my first joke.
No, like oh, like here's a set I had at an open mic or stuff like that. It's like
The amount of, but I mean, I haven't been to an open mic in 5-6 years.
yeah.
How much racism is there still at mics? Because it was like exclusively racism.
Yeah, it needs to be. I don't know if that people were. That was always like people would be like, we run a really supportive open mic. And it's like by its nature, it cannot be supportive, or it should like it's just a losing battle to make for a supportive open mic. It's like this is a place where everybody is welcome. It's like yeah, until one person gets on stage and says something horrific, and then nobody feels welcome.
There was one mic like that was run in the South Street Seaport at Fresh Salt.
Wow.
By an individual and I went to show up, and I was friends with this person. They're like, oh, no, we meant like just women and gays. And I was like, what the hell? I thought this is everyone. They're like, well,
safe for,
not you.
Yeah,
and I was like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, that's a mic. It's rare that I've heard of an open mic. This is the first time I'm hearing of that open mic. It might not have gone on for like long, but
well, that's what happens when you only let women tell jokes. It doesn't go on for long because it's not going to be good.
A lot of like empathetic nods in the audience, like.
I mean, I think women's only open mic. That's just a book club.
Yeah, you'd probably get the same level of connection and things like that. I think like
was that what's going on at book clubs?
Yeah, people just like connect. Like I hear you, I see.
Do people
you,
read the book?
I don't know. It might be like a little performative. I've never been,
it
but I'll say this: when I read a good book, I'm usually like busting out of my pants to try and tell somebody facts about the book.
You're a book guy.
I'm a book guy, and then I feel bad for my wife because it'll be like, hey, can I, we'll be like walking to groceries. I'll be like, can I just talk about Winston Churchill real quick? Like,
You're a big World War II book
guy.
guy.
I just get 2 minutes out of Winston Churchill. I just read this thing last night, like, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm reading this, like, it's like historical fiction about Henry VIII, and now I just want to be, like, can we stop watching Friday Night Lights real quick? Did you know that Henry VIII? Did you know that? And like, that's
Friday night. Shout out Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, she's loving it. She's just like, it's funny to watch an Australian watch Friday Night Lights.
It has to be the same as watching a Long Islander watch Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
Like, this ain't real and I have a stupid accent. She has a stupid accent.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of people with dumb accents being like, that's not real.
It looks like a fairy tale. She's like, did they really care this much about football? And I was like, I don't know. I've been to Texas.
They still do.
Yeah, still do.
It's only getting bigger.
I saw a tweet. I thought of you.
Oh, boy.
It was a tweet. It said, can you imagine going D3 in football? Yeah, like, and then in quotes, it was like, yeah, man, I tore both of my ACLs and I have CTE, but at least we beat Middlebury.
My buddy played offensive tackle at Middlebury. Dude, I sent him that tweet.
I know people I literally know a guy who tore both of his ACLs in the NESCAC. Like, he went to Hamilton, he tore both of his ACLs.
If I was that person, I would get into Hamilton and then quit the football team immediately. Because you weren't going to get into the school before.
No.
They were with a bunch of rich people.
Yes.
Just mingle.
You've already done the thing. I think my view of people quitting college sports now has changed, like, dramatically since, like, I'm out. Like, when I was in, it was just like, oh, you coward. It's like, nah, quitting and, like, focusing on, like, maybe developing a skill that will apply to outside of college seems like a better use of time than like learning how to pick up a blitz in like football.
Well, people think it's going to like help them on interviews and people are going to be impressed.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah, or like in the interview, just say like, yeah, I went to school to play a sport, and then just don't say that you quit. They're not going to call your coach.
Right.
Yeah. I made the team. And then they'll be like, how did it help you with challenges? Oh, practice was challenging. Just lie. Make it into a good school for the sport. Quit the first day.
Yep.
And then just spend the rest of your time like learning to code, like something actual.
That's what I would recommend.
Yeah.
I had a buddy in high school, all-American lacrosse player, racially ambiguous. We really never figured out what he was.
Yep.
Gets into Yale lacrosse, never showed up to practice.
That's the
we found out late, like.
Yeah.
Later.
And then that was also like, you also in high school, everybody would go away to college and stuff, and you'd hear about the kids that washed out. Like
I
at
love those stories.
Dude, that was really crazy. It's really, really difficult in high school to be like, oh, that guy's gonna last 4 years at the place.
Yes.
There's some guys where it's like, oh, not my fault. Like the coach has turned over 3 times and I never saw the field, and the excuses and stuff. Like, it is, to your point, a little bit of Schadenfreude, a little bit of like, oh, okay, maybe not so good at the thing that you thought you were good at.
It's also, how am I going to say this? The trajectory of people in high school often makes sense. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Like, if this guy was a fuck-up, but he was going to play football at Middlebury, you're like, that's not going to work out.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because you're a fuck-up.
Yeah. It usually comes out in the wash. Like, anybody who is, like, got by. Like, yeah, I think college is, especially college sports, it is a pressure cooker and just will exacerbate any of your, failings or anything like that.
I also can't believe, this is a thought I had recently, I can't believe how seriously I took sports.
Yeah.
It was the only thing, like... I
Yeah.
truly thought I was on the Yankees.
Dude, I like, and think about like comedy too. Like, I think when sports exists, because you're a funny guy, I'm a funny guy, and like there was always want to be funny with our friends, always like finding bits. Like, it was who can figure out the most obscure Anchorman quote. Like that was like
That was very big.
Yes, like this is, and I think the best one is, this is worse than that time a raccoon got in the copier, which is so like, it's very like, but that was that urge was in me. I assume it was in you, of just like watching movies and stuff and just loving it in the way that everybody else did, but sports is so all consuming. Like watching ESPN Sports Center Top 10, like you'd rewatch the episode twice because you're like, oh, I missed number 8 on the top 10. Now I got to watch it again to see the.
Were you like a stats guy?
No.
Because there were a lot of stats kids.
And now I think I am. Yeah, everybody gets something different from sports. I was probably more like a narrative guy.
Yes.
I liked my teams, but the stats kids that's like its own, like very specific athletic autism.
Yeah, I was going to say it's early set autism.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just autism.
Yeah.
At that point, it's pretty set in.
Yes. But I think it was like, yeah, for dudes in the suburbs, like sports was everything. And it's cool. Like it's like socially acceptable for sports to be your like whole personality.
Into adulthood.
Yeah, well into adulthood.
I have a friend who he's ripped a door down because the Mets lost.
Hope he has a mansion, dude, because there's a lot of doors he's going to have to rip down.
Nope. It's not looking.
Oh, no, my only door.
And now he just bought a house. So he's going to have to fucking replace the door himself now, not his parents.
Every door. Yeah, that's a lot. Him going through like, oh, yeah, so like the window's cool, the foyer, and he's just testing the doors. Yeah, this is rip proof.
But like in high school, like the coaches took it so seriously, and I was like, yeah. This is everything.
I'd run through a brick wall.
And now
for
I'm
you type
30.
Thing. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that guy's a loser.
Yeah.
Why are you taking JV lacrosse so seriously?
Yeah, it's a tough one. And then here's the thing. It's crazy how comforted I still feel watching sports. Like
What does that mean?
like because I can say like, oh my God, sports, like I have a different relationship with it now. Like, yeah, maybe like a net positive, maybe not. The camaraderie's cool. Like, but watching football and just turning my brain off and like realizing like, okay, I'm just going to be a Republican for 90 minutes is the most amazing. It feels incredible. You're checking your fantasy team. Like that's like as close to my happy place as exists. But now I have to turn off the part of my brain that's like, that looked like the worst injury I've ever seen in my life.
People have a tough time changing that mindset.
Yeah, it gets harder. But, and it's crazy, as much as I read and as much of a Libby liberal as I am, I'm still like, I don't know what it would take for me to stop watching the NFL.
They would have to stop.
Yeah.
Oh, they're never going to stop.
Yeah. How about this uncomfortable fact? I don't know if I've said it here, but nobody's talking about OJ having CTE. Like OJ for sure had CTE. That changes the whole narrative of like the murder thing and how erratic he was like throughout his whole life.
This is a very liberal football take.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It wasn't OJ's fault.
Yeah. This is one of the craziest takes I've ever heard.
Yeah, it wasn't OJ's fault. It was the NFL. The NFL killed those people.
It was
LA.
Rydell's fault. Make a better helmet back then.
Yes, that's exactly it. Dude, the guy was running around with a one bar kicking helmet. You know what I mean? Like the
Yep.
Yeah, that's the helmet. That's who murdered those people in LA.
Yeah, well, you think Hernandez during that whole time was like...
He did have CTE,
OJ?
so they looked at his brain.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
And he was gay, and they think that the CTE made him gay. No, that's not true, but...
That would be wild.
Yeah.
That's a conspiracy theory a lot of Americans will be into.
The CTE made him gay.
Like, no, that's why I kissed him.
Yeah.
It's because I played high school football.
I think that would probably shut the NFL down if they're like, wait. There's
No, we can't do that.
It seems like CTE makes people gay.
Do you think that's why they're not admitting to CTE? Maybe CTE does make you gay.
Yeah, they can't.
And Jerry Jones is like, we can't
let this out.
leaked.
Yes. Oh my God, that's it. There's a room of like 5 billionaires who are like, we got to keep this under wraps.
And they're all kissing each other.
Billionaire lips probably feel good, bad, probably
think?
good. I don't know.
Jerry Jones doesn't seem very supple to me.
No, very, very unkissable billionaire.
Yeah, very chapped lips.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, because Burt's Bees is gay.
It is. Nothing gayer than beeges.
Beeges?
Beeges, the jizz of a bee.
Is that what it is? Is that
No,
what
it's
that
like
is?
bee wax, but like what is wax? But if not solid jizz.
I mean, I don't know enough about beeswax to argue with you about this.
I'm coming up with like the dumbest takes.
But this all could be 100% correct.
These are the dumbest takes.
No
I
one
think
look
I've
into
ever
any
had.
of this. This,
Yep.
this is all factual content. How's Greece?
I was in Greece for 20 days, 18 days, 19 days, something like that.
The original gay country.
The original gay country, home of Achilles and Patroclus, two gay guys.
Who's Patroclus?
His gay guy, his gay friend.
Is that just what he's famous for, being Achilles' gay friend?
Yeah, there's a book. I think because that was like Achilles got when Achilles dies, which they don't go into it in the movie Troy, but so Achilles is a Greek guy. He's fighting Troy. He's the best. Nobody can defeat him. And then Patroclus, his quote unquote friend, puts on his armor to go fight in Achilles' place, because I think Achilles was doing like a holdout. He's like, I'm done fighting. In the war, in the Trojan War.
In the Trojan War, okay.
Yeah, so
he's
Achilles
not a
is like,
gladiator.
Achilles is, for some reason, he's like, hey, I'm done fighting. Patroclus is like, we need Achilles, like, and his morale boost to win this war. I'm going to put on his armor. I'm going to go out there. Patroclus gets killed.
Damn.
And then Achilles loses his mind and goes out and starts to try and kill everybody. And I think he gets like pretty far, and then he gets shot with the arrow in the Achilles. So he's
Right.
blinded by the grief of his gay friend, his gay boyfriend.
Right.
And that was why he died. So
So they teach you that day one?
in Greece, yeah. So you're like, you land in customs as like, sit down, because let me tell you a story of a very strong man with weak Achilles
And his gay boyfriend.
and his gay boyfriend. Greece is dope. So the airport you land in the airport, and then you drive to Athens. Driving to Athens, dude, Greece is struggling financially.
Has been for decades.
It looks like Detroit. And I've been to Detroit with like the closed up businesses, closed up homes. You get to Athens and everything's like better. But financially they are. And then, yeah, I had to like Google it, like, why are they doing so bad? And it was the 2008 financial crisis hit them really hard. COVID lockdowns hit them real hard.
And for generations, they've hated working.
Yeah, being anti-work hit them real hard.
Yeah.
Who knew it would
Started a few thousand years ago, and it's really just gone downhill from
Yeah,
there.
they just kind of Greek people just love getting to a forum and just kind of pontificating. Like, that's kind of the issue.
Yes.
Is there way too much pontificating.
I would like to see the bar graph of Greece's economy pre and post cigarette.
Yeah, dude, I got addicted to cigarettes.
Yeah.
My wife and I got
That's Greece.
fully addicted to cigarettes and then quit and had like withdrawals. Like,
This all checks out to me.
Yeah, in 20 days. 20 days is just enough time to get addicted to
You
cigarettes.
became Greek real quick.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so I love that. It sounds like I'm being negative. Like Greece has some like
It's
economic
gorgeous.
problems, and I never felt unsafe, which is crazy. Like like there were poor areas, and I was never like, oh, I'm like, like sketchy people or anything like that. It just felt.
Are there gypsies?
I'm not sure. I didn't ask.
I'm very fascinated with gypsy culture.
Yeah, because you watch
Gypsy wedding.
Gypsy Wedding.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure if that'd be tough to be a gypsy in Greece because you got to go like island to island, and who knows if the horses
Yeah, you have to build a
can
boat or something.
swim. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot for them. Greece is and Athens super cheap. People shit on
yeah.
Athens. I loved Athens. People are like
People
go to
shit on Athens?
yeah. People are like, oh, Athens is like dirty or like kind of chaotic. It's like a really cool, a lot of young people.
Really?
Yeah.
People are staying there?
I think anybody so that's like a big thing that is a problem with Greece is people are leaving the country, but they're not leaving Athens necessarily. You're leaving to go find opportunity in other places, but first you go to Athens and then maybe you leave like from there.
That's
I think
the gateway out.
yeah, people are leaving like the towns and stuff. So they're having problems with like declining birth rate and stuff like that. But Athens, like, go into any place, get a beer for like €4. It's real. It's
Okay.
it's kind of got like a grungy vibe. It feels like, in a non-derogatory way, it feels like Eastern European Mexico City.
Go on.
Yeah, it kind of feels like touristy. It feels a little like the buildings are all old and cool. There's like
Right.
graffiti everywhere. The trains are kind of.
They got a subway?
Yeah, they got like an above ground subway. It goes like
Okay.
a couple stops, and then just the cigarettes are awesome
Plentiful.
and everywhere. Get into the islands. Every island in Greece, like people are like, this is one thing that I want to dispel about Greece because everybody's like, oh, Santorini's for tourists, Mykonos for party. Dude, shut up. The place to start from is every island in Greece is the most beautiful place you've ever been in your life.
Yes.
So we can jostle on the top 10, but the baseline is these places are all incredible,
Yes.
which is like people. Have you ever been to Greece?
No, but I know a lot of Greek people.
And and they're like, oh, you can't go to this place during this time because it's there's a lot of this like artificial kind of like ranking of the islands and knocking them down and being like, oh, you went to even like I was posting pictures of people like, oh, you're in Santorini. That's like it's the tourist place, and it's like Santorini is the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life.
Also, just let me enjoy this.
Yeah.
Why you gotta be a cunt about it?
Yeah, like there's like, oh, that's like the up and coming island, and so like do what you want with that shit, and it's fun to like rank them. I think humans are like always gonna rank them and stuff, but it's like the baseline is like the islands in Greece are the coolest place I've ever been. Probably
It makes sense why no one there works. If
Yeah.
you lived there, you wouldn't work.
Oh my God, it is you get to Greece, you get to the Greek islands 2 days in, you're like, how can I fake my death
Yes.
to stay here forever? The cafes are like all manageable. Dude, people would like so I'd say the one thing that we missed out on, which I think people complain about, September is like a shoulder season, like it's off peak, even though with global warming it's going to become peak and July is going to become uninhabitable, which I think it's like kind of creeping towards already. But September, like off peak, like it gets a little chilly at night sometimes, but it's
Great.
like September is the time to go, like May
this
or
down.
September. Yeah. The food is incredible. It's all like really good seafood. All the waiters and stuff like speak English and are really nice and
In
hospitable.
Athens.
In Athens, on the Greek islands too. Everybody speaks English.
Okay, very nice.
Every single person speaks English.
I do like at the restaurants there, you walk in, there's like no menu. They're just like, all right, I got sardines and I got tomatoes. If you wait a bit, maybe octopus.
Yeah.
Like you in?
The octopus is incredible. Yeah. So then like probably like 2 of the top meals I've ever had in my life were in Greece.
How's the feta?
Feta's great, dude, and they'll bring it out in a chunk
Yeah.
this big.
Great.
You order a Greek salad, it's like, yeah, there's some veggies, but like, this is what you're here for.
They call it a Greek salad there, or they just salad?
Everywhere has a Greek salad, and like,
Or a village salad. That's a word. There's a word for that.
There, it says Greek salad on the menu.
Really?
Yeah, they call it Greek salad in Greece.
Sons of bitches.
Yeah. You wouldn't think it. You'd think it would be called like a tukadukada.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Spanakopita is like a
The spanakopita.
spanakopita.
Oh,
You know,
fantastic.
the
spinach pie, yeah.
spinach feta pie. Those are great. So like the bakeries that they have are like really good.
Pasticios? You have any of that?
Now what is that?
Greek lasagna.
Greek lasagna. Maybe I had it. The spanakopita.
With like circular noodles with like rigatoni. It's fantastic.
Ooh, that sounds good. There's like the one. It was like a beef kind of lasagna type thing. I can't remember the name.
Moussaka?
Of it. Moussaka was incredible. Yeah. And then the aubergine, something like that. It's just like this like really like beat to shit sautéed eggplant. Aubergine.
Huh.
I don't even know if it's Greek, but like I was eating the shit out of eggplant. And then the wine is just like all like
Well, of course.
really, really good.
What are we doing here?
This is what they're burying the lead on. So specific as an American, there's not a railing, like a safety railing or like a handicap ramp in the whole any of the Greek islands.
I've never seen a handicapped Greek person.
If you have a limp, the Greek islands are not for you.
Don't even bother.
It's steps everywhere because it's so mountainous up and down.
Yes.
There's no real markings. Like, so I think this is like in America, you go to a national park or something, like the Grand Canyon has like rails and like places like do not go over here. And my wife thinks it's because like everybody just sues everybody all the time.
Well, it's also because if it wasn't there, people will jump.
Yeah.
Because they are depressed here.
Yes. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe they're like, it's like, why? Rail for what? Why would you
want to kill yourself?
Why leave this?
Have a cigarette and a gyro.
Yeah. So that leads to every island we went to. We went to 3 islands. It was Sifnos, Milos, Santorini. Every island we went to, without fail, you saw people on crutches who had like just fucked up their ankles. Every restaurant and place, because like these towns are like the towns are all the houses are built on top of each other. Like Greece is like super mountainous,
Right.
And so the houses, like we rented a car and we made a wrong turn, and it was a street. You're surrounded on all sides by like people living in apartments. It's one lane that has traffic in both directions.
Of course.
And it's a steep grade that you need to like go around a court. So like my wife had to get out of the car to turn around the corner to like say like, okay, you can come now.
Oh,
like,
shit.
Because it was so like, it was the most stressful driving situation I've ever been in. So people walking just eat shit all the time. We were at a wedding. 2 people there had fucked up ankles from just eating it down a step.
Sober.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Are the stairs just like not taken care of? Or
The
just,
stairs are like
divots?
super slippery rocks. Santorini especially. So Santorini is like,
It's like marble, right? It's a lot
yeah,
of marble.
imagine like a Greek town with all like the white buildings and stuff
Like
and
the
the blue
blue
doors.
tile, yeah.
Yeah. And they're all like on top of each other. So this is an apartment complex and you take 2 steps and then there's like an entryway into like a wine bar and then you come out and there's like, and it's all just a maze.
Right.
Like it doesn't make any sense. And you're walking, it's like, is this a road that cars can come down and then a fucking like guy on a moped will just scream by you?
It's like one of those Chinese apartment cities.
Yes. And it's literally the Empire State Building height up in the air,
Really?
close to a cliff face. So Santorini is like, it's towns in the sky. It's so...
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah. So there's like one town in Santorini. My wife was like, let's walk from this town to another town. That path was on the side of a cliff. Like my balls were in my throat the whole time. Everybody's just like walking around like there's like no chance of like fall. I'm like, I just could not believe like no one else was like scared of this shit.
Were they a bunch of Greek people or a bunch of tourists?
Bunch of tourists.
Really?
There were these Australians in tank tops and Birkenstocks that fully lapped us, like walking up and down like these like rocky traversing thing. Like
Australians aren't fazed by anything.
no, they're like mountain goats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For real, dude.
They are like mountain goats.
They can stand on anything.
Yeah, they'll do. So that's like, yeah, that's the thing that is kind of crazy is like Greece is dangerous, the most dangerous walking I've seen.
People don't talk about that.
No.
Okay.
It's all I thought about. We would like get off at a ferry. The ferry shit, so like you think ferry, right? The ferry at, the main way of getting from place to place is a ferry, and ferry doesn't describe the size of these boats.
They're gigantic.
They are gigantic. They're like half a cruise ship. And you see them next to each other, and they're like not that different in size. The gate, you're at the port, right? The gate comes down, and it's a ramp. As soon as the ramp falls, 10 cops come off, and they're just screaming at you to get on. Like, get on, get on, get on,
And
get on,
English or
get on. The cops spoke Greek. The only thing that they would need to do, and they were just like, got to go, got to go, got to go, got to go, got to go. Because they're just, like, it feels like a military operation.
And they're doing this, every 10 minutes?
Yeah, and so, like, at the main port in Athens, I can't remember the name of the city. It's a port city that's like... Yeah, Tokatokapa.
Yep.
So you go to Tokatokapa. The ramp comes down, and you sprint onto the hull of the ship because cops are screaming at you. And the boat is, like, moving up and down, and one ramp is for people walking, and the other one is for mopeds, ATVs, and cars.
People riding ATVs?
That are coming onto the ferry.
This is like the Bronx.
Yes. And then the gates, and then the ramps go up. But like then you get to the island, right? So at the island, the ramps go down again. The water is like, we went on one day when the water was like super choppy. They were like, we're going to be delayed 30 minutes because we have to like figure out how to get in. Yeah. The ramps come down. Everybody in the hull of the ship, right? The hull it's just this giant.
How is it inside the ship?
It's like, so it's a giant metal like cavern. Think like an airplane hangar. Obviously not that big, but like super metallic. And then you walk to the back of it, and then you walk up steps, and that's like an Amtrak train. So that's like on the second floor. The first floor is just like for storage for cars and like your luggage and stuff.
Right.
As soon as you walk up the ramp, you just get blasted by diesel. Like the strongest diesel fumes that you've ever received in your life.
Good.
Yeah. You get to the island, and then the ramps go down. Everybody, and then the same thing happens, but it's more difficult because people are now coming onto the ferry too.
So you're trying to get off as they're coming on.
Hundreds of people.
Hundreds
of people come, cops screaming the whole Takado, 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 Takado. Cars just like driving in and out. You get off, like, and so it feels like you're storming the beaches. That's what it feels like. No one's
getting run over or anything.
Dude, like I'm like this, and everybody's just like, oh, where should we go? And so it's like if D-Day, if the destination for D-Day was just like brunch. It's like if everybody, it feels like everybody's like, we gotta go. Our reservation's in 30 minutes. It's so crazy. And and so that was something that nobody really talked about, is like you're pretty much in a military operation. Just moving like hundreds and hundreds of people, all this cargo, all these cars, cops are there. You get off, and like all of these cabbies are like fighting for like fees and fares and stuff.
Right.
And then you get away from the port, and it's like beautiful, idyllic, like not as many people depending on where you go. But like the port shit is like super stressful. The port in Santorini, you get off the boat, and then it's the fucking jankiest road. It's fully zigzagging up a cliff face. So like a full cliff face, and they've just dug into the rock. They Z this way, Z this way, Z this way. And I'm like, how is that not the number one thing that people talk about at Santorini? People are like, oh, the tourists. Like the tourists are like the first thing everybody should talk about at Santorini is that it's literally a fucking Lord of the Rings road.
One way?
Both sides. Full buses to pick up tourists that are joining from cruise ships. Like Sprinter, we got into a Sprinter van. The Sprinter van drives up and around. The barriers are 2 foot, so there's no barriers for the oncoming traffic.
Okay.
So cars are going, like, it's 2 lanes, and they're both, like, one's going down, one's going up.
Right.
There's no separation. And then the barriers to keep you from going off of the cliff is a 2-foot stone.
Well,
like,
yeah.
On the way, so, like, going up, I was like, I'm going to have, like, a full-blown panic attack.
There's no, like, ski lift or anything?
No.
I feel like a ski lift would really solve most of these problems.
I like that. I like Greek ski lift. That makes a lot of sense.
Write this down, Greeks.
On the way down, I was like, so we spent like 4 days in Santorini, and then I was like, motherfucker, we're gonna have to go back down that fucking hill.
How big is Santorini?
It's probably like,
It seems like 4 days is a lot there.
yeah, but like you'd be surprised how much you can just like drink coffee in the morning and then drink alcohol at night and just have like incredible meals and stuff and wake up
All right, that's a fair point.
yeah, wake up real late, do some reading by the pool
Little
and stuff.
ouzo.
Yeah. Oh, ouzo's like not good. I thought I was
No,
like,
it's terrible.
dude, I'm like Mr. like drink a disgusting drink and love it or pretend to love it as a bit.
No,
and
it's terrible.
couldn't do it with ouzo. The wine is incredible and the beer is like all really cheap and really nice. So driving back down, we spend the time in Santorini, and Santorini is like the full island. So we stayed in a town in Santorini, and I can't remember the name of the town. We get a cab to go back down to the ferry, and I was like, fuck this shit. Like this is my least favorite part of the trip is like up and down from the port in Santorini. And we're talking to the cab driver, and he's like, yeah, I live here for 3 months of the year, and then I go back into the mainland, and that's where I live like with my family and stuff. He's like, but I am not safe on this island.
The fuck does that? Oh, like driving.
Just driving.
Okay, I thought he like had a warrant.
The way he sound, and that so there's like a couple of like Greek turns of phrases. Well, like people who are not native English speakers, like because I am not safe on this island. It's you get it eventually, but it also just sounds like people are gonna
like the Turks are about to invade.
Yeah, people
again.
are out to kill me.
Yeah,
which was like very beautiful. I am not safe on this island. It's like it's just a beautiful sentence. And he was saying like, yeah, dude, like people will just fucking eat it on ATVs, on mopeds.
And they just fly?
Dude, there's like rentals. So I cannot imagine to rent a car was like nothing.
Well, and, yeah, no economy.
Renting a car is fine. Mopeds and ATVs are everywhere in the Greek islands, or at least in Santorini and Milos.
You need no license.
I don't think so, dude. So he was saying that people just eat it into the oceans, and he was like, yeah, like 3 people have died since you've been here. And we're like,
since you were there?
Yeah, but we just didn't like, there's just no like central broadcasting to say like, hey, attention everybody, like there's been deaths.
Wait, what are they supposed to do? Tell you every time someone dies?
Yeah. No cops when you get to the island. The smallest police presence I've ever seen in a place, especially with like that many tourists. They're just not around.
Well, yeah, they're at the port.
Yeah.
You got to keep yelling at people.
Takado. So it's yeah, and then really fun thing that I didn't think I was going to enjoy. Tons of stray cats. Lots of stray cats.
What about dogs?
Saw maybe like 1 or 2 in the driving from the airport to Athens.
That's not bad. I would think there'd be a lot more dogs.
So many cats. They're really nice. They're like used to people being there.
Like Japanese deer.
Kinda, yeah. Kind of similar to the Japanese deer. They're like, but then they're a little bit like pigeons. So like you'll be eating and a cat will just like jump up on a chair next to you. Like you're eating outside at a restaurant. Like that happened. It was really funny. Where like this one woman was just like eating alone, and then a cat just like jumped up onto the chair and was just like sitting across from her. Like just like waiting for her meal to end.
I mean, the cat's defense, all Greeks basically do eat cat food.
Yeah.
Sardines and small fresh fish.
There's no better place to be a stray cat, I think, than Greece.
Makes complete sense to me.
Yeah. And like so we did like pork chops on one day, and there was this cat that was just like angling for it the whole time, and like it's like, okay, sometimes you want to feed him, sometimes you don't. Like and as I was paying for my bill, like we had left the table and I saw the cat had like fully taken the full like bone from the pork chop and was just like,
yeah, they could take it.
Just like taking it from my table.
How much is a
funny.
Greek dinner?
Like €50.
More than I thought.
Yeah.
More than I thought.
The food, going out to get food is like, not to beat a dead horse and talk about Greece the whole time.
To talk about it.
We
got 5 minutes until the page.
In Greece, you are not allowed to flush toilet paper down the toilet. Their plumbing in the city in Athens and all these islands that we went to, there would be signs that people at the hotels would tell you, like, by the way, you cannot flush toilet paper down the toilet. Apparently there's something up with the pipes.
Yeah,
the pipes are really
3,000 years old.
It's probably like just the explosion in population from like tourists and stuff. These were like small fishing villages, and now they're 10x people come there and stuff. I ignored that recommendation at every single place that I went to. I was like, I'm flushing my toilet paper.
Yeah, you're a patriot.
Yeah, and I got into like a fight with like we went out to drinks and stuff, and like I think of myself as like, you know, kind of a cultured American.
You've been around.
Yeah, been around, but I had the most American like tirade at a bar. I was like, I'm not fucking putting my toilet paper in the garbage. Like, if you can't handle, I'll write you a check. You tell me how much this costs you, and I will write a check to the governor of Greece. Like, I'm sorry I wiped and flushed the toilet paper down the toilet every single time. Like, and then slowly it came, like, people were like, shut up. And then slowly we went on the table and people were like, yeah, I've been flushing my toilet paper too.
Oh, everyone's been doing
But I was
it.
the only one that would leave it to the American
You're vocal.
to put their body down on the barbed wire and say, like, this is bullshit.
Were you surrounded by Australians?
Australians and English people and stuff, and I was the only one who was like, I'm not fucking sitting down over this. Like,
So
this,
a bunch of people that can't win wars.
yeah, if you can't build an infrastructure that can handle my shitty toilet paper, then don't exist. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Listen, Greece, Iran is bombing Israel.
Yeah.
You're maybe next. You're going to need me in a few months.
Yeah, so maybe take my shitty toilet paper.
Let me flush it down, all right?
Yeah, that was mind-numbing every place we went to. I was like, I cannot believe that nowhere in this country can handle toilet paper in the pipes.
Well, it feels like, and I've only been to Ireland, but from my understanding of Europe as a whole, the reason why it's a failing, almost all the economies are failing, they just don't want to change anything. Buildings, infrastructure, pipes.
Yeah, it's all real old.
And so if you just fix this, everything could be solved.
Yeah. So that is my own, and then you can't drink the water anywhere. So you got
I mean, I get that.
you got to buy like bottled water everywhere you go to.
That's fair.
That sounds like a lot of complaining about Greece. I think it's an incredible place. I'll be back. The people are the nicest people ever. The cigarettes are incredible. Just
Is it their own cigarettes?
I mean, it's just probably
Marlboro Reds?
Marlboros and stuff. But they're, just like sitting on a balcony, watching the sunset over the Aegean. The balcony was the hotel room. It's like not even that expensive of a place.
Right.
And, just like we just had like an incredible meal, split a bottle of wine. Like those are just really like, you're like, there's nothing better than this. And that happens like every day you're in Greece. You're like, I cannot believe that I am doing this right now.
I can't believe this is life.
Yeah. And you want to go back like as soon as humanly possible. I can't recommend it enough. It's underrated as a place to go.
Underrated?
Greece is underrated.
Okay.
Yeah. And I put it in my top. I was asking my wife to rank it. And people are like going to go kind of bonkers over this. And I think Scotland might be number one.
Scotland's big on everyone's list.
Scotland is, I've like my top 3 or 4. I like Greece or Scotland, depending on the day. And then New Zealand as well is
That's far.
Super up
That's
there.
a tough sell to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because, like, it's just like, okay, if you like mountains and skiing and stuff, like Switzerland's, like,
way closer.
Or just go to, like, a ski town in
Go to
Colorado.
Utah.
Yeah,
right.
something. You can get most of that. But
good lamb chops.
good lamb chops. More lambs than people, I think. More sheep than people in New Zealand.
I'm not interested in human chops. That's A-okay with me.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It's just
It's
more
a dumb
lamb
joke.
for the less people.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, where are you going to go for human chops?
We got to also figure out planes. They should just be faster.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
They're getting, because I need to care about it, and I do care about it, like, they're coming out with a direct flight from New York to Sydney.
Really?
Which I think is kind of a game changer.
How long does that take? Fucking 4 days?
Yeah, it's like probably 22 hours, something like that.
Jesus.
I've done the long ones. I've done New York to Singapore, I think was like the longest that I've done.
New York to Singapore.
I think it's like 18 hours, something like that.
What do you do?
You hallucinate. You start to hallucinate like a little bit. And as long as you're ready for like I've been up for 24 hours, like I'm going to start to like hear and see things and think about things that are like not there. That happens like quicker than you'd think.
Huh.
Like you really understand why sleep deprivation is like a torture device. Because you're like, I don't know what's like real or not. You'll like doze off and like wake up and think that you're having like conversations and stuff and like hearing things that aren't there.
Are the planes big?
No, just like regular planes.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
We did the one to and from Greece, the one back from Greece, like just fucking everybody's packed in, like
Yeah,
ass to
it's
tits.
done. It's over.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. So, yeah, it was a good time.
All right.
Yeah.
And now we'll get into the spicy stuff on the page.
Oh, it's coming.
It's coming, folks.
What's spicier than not flushing toilet paper, shitty toilet paper down the toilet? You'll find out
You'll find out
on the page.
right now. Switch over to the page. Subscribe, you poor bitches. All right, here we go.